All right, good evening and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, GOIL Company Limited, Serene Insurance, and the Integrated Customs Management Systems, ICOMS. The show, abridged version, is also aired on Ghana Television every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Our media partners on Iron Port is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to know all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab a Thursday edition of the copy of the BNFT, and you are going to be able to peruse and see all that transpired here on the show tonight. We're also streaming live on our social media handles, Facebook and YouTube at Iron Port Ghana. You can watch us there live whilst the show runs. Along the line, remember, we shall get interactive with you, so you would have to send us your comments ahead via our WhatsApp line, which is 0559 019-177, 0559-019-177. We're glad to read your comments to the rest of the world. And remember, at some point, also, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the show. We'll be back shortly.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at some of the happenings in the port and maritime industry in the course of the week. And one thing that really comes to mind is the fact that the port security in the port of Tema were able to apprehend a Guinean young man who stowed away from the port of Dakar in Senegal. And apparently he thought the vessel was Europe-bound, and he found himself in the port of Tema and was apprehended. And we'll bring you that story. Plus, the fact that GOIL Company Limited held its annual general meeting in the course of the week, and they decided to retain or maintain the dividends for its shareholders in spite of the effects of COVID-19 on businesses. We'll bring you that story as well. Enjoy.
A Guinean working at the Senegalese port of Dakar as a docker, Mahamoudou Songo, has been disembarked at the port of Tema following a failed stowaway attempt to Europe for greener pasture. Briefing Iron Port, Sheikh Labran Salifou Bari, officer in charge of intelligence and investigations at the port of Tema, alleged that the stowaway entered into the vessel during port operations on the vessel at the port of Dakar with the expectation that the vessel was going to Europe.
He thought the vessel was going to Europe, but little did he know that the vessel caught with a port. So eventually he's in Ghana now.
The vessel, which called the port of Tema on 20th June 2021, reported that they had one stowaway on board after one of its crew members discovered the culprit. The port security intends to hand him over to the Ghana Immigration Service after its investigations.
So the immigration process with the P&I agent in order to be taken to his home country, and that is where he will face their law over there. Sheikh Labran Salifu urged the youth to desist from the practice of stowing away since it's a dangerous venture. Some of them, they only decide to stow away, but they don't anticipate the repercussion or the consequence of that may come after they take that decision. You intended to stow away without any food and water. So imagine, how can you starve yourself? The board chairman of GOIL Company Limited, Kwame Battles, has stated that despite a 14% reduction in the company's revenue in 2020, GOIL remained committed to its shareholders and will therefore not reduce dividends. Speaking at the 52nd annual general meeting of the company, he said GOIL witnessed a difficult year in 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic, which led to massive economic downturn.
The company's profit after tax was 90.03 million. Down by 14.5% compared to the previous year. Consequently, earnings per share also fell by 14.5%. Despite the fall, the board has decided to pay a dividend by the same amount as that of last year.
He reiterated the company's commitment to continue to provide valuable products and services to its stakeholders and also implement programs to maintain its position as the leading oil marketing company in the country. Kwame Nabatel said GOIL had put in place initiatives, especially in the area of technology, to boost its operations. The managing director and group CEO of GOIL, Kwame Osei-Prempeh, expressed optimism that the company's revenue is likely to increase this year because of the capital-intensive investments they have embarked on.
If you are able to complete the bitumen and start sales by October, if the LPG, the auto gas comes on board, and if you believe that we return to, and we know that and there's been no lockdown this year like we had in 2020. So we believe that 2021 our profit will go up.
All right, so those were some happenings in the port and maritime industry in the course of the week. Indeed, we shall be bringing you one other item, and that has to do with the fact that the Ghana Maritime Authority joined the rest of the world to mark the Day of the Seafarer, and that's what our main discussion is centered on today. But for now, we would have to go for the GOIL TV market. And remember, the GOIL TV market is all about showcasing the products and services of one of our lead sponsors, that's GOIL Company Limited. And I've always told you that premium is placed on the GOIL Super XP Ron 95. This week's edition comes to you from Wenchi in the Bono region.
GOIL, GOIL, in the service of the nation. North, south, east, and west, wherever we put you first.
GOIL fuel dear. Yeah, I want to be brave. Say, so for my a better be a film. Say, what kind of a pun we see a manager. So we injectors and we fear a clinic be amount. It sounds so a reduce with fuel consumption. And now a money rent them. Aha, we're 95 and Kwano, it is Ajumano, and I sound here the XP3, it assume into no and only extra benefit.
So can you petrol Kwandia? It can set self away and now you're day. Would you go okay? Now we engine no day, HMO. Yen ton will be our well. Now we in Kwana yeday, your ton says, one station be our Becobiano, a petrol dia, a whipper and I yeday, yet ton. Because I'm away 1 gallon, and I'm one for more. Now I'm away 1 gallon at 20 pesos. That's one. Many fast raw ever way so asking away because we never sent them. We also and sent them. Now we so say me car. A mammy car we tum. Never shall see a smoky. Now say me engine. Then we see a neighbor. No. I dating a man fanto wemo. Men dear are there for 40.
You wish a GOIL product no and fuel and corn. Oil so until you say, may your driver Nina say, me use GOIL fuel na me use GOIL oil na. And we see no, and also want something to say.
So the GOIL petrol engine more, any oil be ni chakabia. 2 for say, a bear say over top GOIL. engine oil because sɛnea atateɛ no saa na ne nnwa hwɛ dɛ ɛteɛ sɛ ɛma petrol papa yɛbɛma engine oil so papa ebi a na baabi akɔtɔ engine oil na ɛnyɛ ba mɛtu fo sɛ wotɔ GOIL product nko adeɛ a ɛbɛyɛ sɛ wobɛtɔ GOIL engine oil
na tu kwan ɛna makɔ sɔɔto menya GOIL fuel ntɔ mɛtumi atɔ fuel foforɔ kakra anaa mɛtumi atɔ bi agu mu ɛde aba abɛduru baabi a menya GOIL bi atɔ anaa
GOIL na da bi a wotɔ na wonam a na woyɛ asɔɔto ɛwɔ sɛ wohunu gauge no baabi a adu na wɔn kakra a wɔbɛtɔ asɔ so a edu bɛfu akɔ the next GOIL station wɔn sɛ mi gauge no ɛda one plɔ ipɛ na wɔn ntɔ dodo a ɛbɛboro deɛ ɛwɔ o gauge no mu ɛnka ho sɛ ɛbɛyɛ ɛno ɛmbɛgu ɛnfa so sɛ wotɔ na yɛ less than that nko adeɛ a mehyɛ wɔbɔ sɛ GOIL petrol no ɛbɛhohoro deɛ wɔde bɛsra mu bɛfra mu no a enti wusu sɛ ɛyɛ wusu sɛ ɛnyɛ no ɛbɛhohoro ne nyinaa mu ma wɔtumi akɔdu the next GOIL station a wobɛnya petrol papa atɔ
obi on mo se okotɔ no GOIL ɛna ɛba betɔn mode ma ade we ya kyerɛ no ɔno ade no ɔtwe afiri tank kitwa bi si hɔ mɛde ehu sɛ GOIL fuel ɛna ɔtɔn no ɛwɔ hɔ nom
ɛti saa on sɛ yɛfrɛ mo resellers GOIL ankasa deɛ no kɔsɛ mu yɛne reseller bi ani adwuma yɛ samra yɛ kasa yi ebi a na wakɔtɔ afi GOIL station bi a oni no na ɔde akɔgu no hɔ a ɔtɔn yɛnim sɛ resellers yɛ a na ɔmo ɔkoa bi a epi abɔnten a wobɛhu deɛ wɔ mu sɛ yɛ GOIL product no bi a ɛwɔ toɔ no mu no wobɛhu na mo nso ɔtwe afi fam deɛ a ka kyerɛ ne sɛ ɔnhwɛ bi mu adeɛ mu na hwɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ bi deɛ a na sɛ ɔntɔ afi GOIL ɛnɛ no obi timi deɛ obi din ɛyɛ deɛ ɔpɛ ɛso bi a na ɛnte saa
GOIL is good energy. Services so friendly to the nation. North, south, east and west, we always stand for the best. GOIL, GOIL, GOIL is good energy.
You're welcome back, and that was GOIL TV Market, which came to you live from the Bono region, that's Wenchi to be specific. Now we would be zooming straight into our discussion proper, and we're talking about the seafarers tonight. We've often heard that seafarers, and most people call them seaman or seamen. Now, on Friday, the world marked the Day of the Seafarer, and Ghana was no exception. The Ghana Maritime Authority, which is the lead agency as far as maritime activities in the country is concerned, led the charge, and Ghana actually celebrated these seafarers. But who is a seafarer, and what do they do? We know that importers, yes, exporters, we know that freight forwarders, all we do is when we bring in our goods, we just go to the port and then we clear them. But how do these goods traverse oceans and get to their destinations and get to the various ports? Who are responsible for ensuring that these goods get here safely? Tonight, we're taking a look at the plight of the seafarer in Ghana as we recognize seafarers in global trade and what the situation of the Ghanaian seafarer is. And so we've assembled a team, a competent team, to do justice to the topic tonight. And I will begin to introduce my guests to you. I would first move to Captain William Amanshia, who is a lecturer at the Regional Maritime University. Captain is also an associate fellow of the Nautical Institute. In fact, he has so many descriptions that could fit him, but he wants to go by just these two. And to my immediate left is Mr. Edem Kofi Lo Mensah. Mr. Edem Kofi Lo Mensah is president of the Seafarers Center. We're finding out from him what the center is all about and what it is that they do. And to my right is Mr. Audu Inusa. Mr. Audu Inusa is a principal admin officer at the Ghana Maritime Authority. Gentlemen, good evening, and thank you very much for obliging us this evening.
Thank you.
So let me begin with Captain William Amanshia. I know you know a lot about the sea, the seamen, seafarers, and all that. And you know some of the issues that have bedeviled them all this while. And I think that these are issues that keeps popping up, keeps coming up. Run us through, if you will, perhaps maybe a little background of who a seafarer is and what they do.
Thank you, Ken. To most people, everybody who works on the ship is supposed to be a seaman, but that's not actually exactly correct in a way. And as we know, the international shipping It's responsible for carrying around 90% of global trade. And as one of the International Chamber of Shipping guys said, shipping is actually the lifeblood of global economy. And there are approximately 50,000 internationally registered vessels which are carrying this huge amount of international trade. And there are also about 1.5 million people, I've used the word people, who normally drive these ships. To the ordinary person, I would say drive.
Yes.
So these are the people who operate these ships. And they are actually, the actual number is 1,647,000 as of last year.
Wow.
Now, one particular thing about this job is that before you go and do any job on the ship, you must be certified by an international body, an independent international body, that you have the competence to do that particular job. Right. You will not get anybody working on the ship who has not been certified to have that particular skill. So these people are very, very high skilled workers. But unfortunately, people do not usually see them as such people. They believe that, like everything else, if you take a case of the armed forces, in the olden days, you know that when one of your children is not very, very smart, is your Yamfanuko soldier and all that sort of stuff. But nowadays, you find that most of the soldiers are well trained with a very, very good high vocational skills. And the same thing applies to the seafarers now. So to me, a seafarer, the reason why we are not saying seafarer is that we are diversifying. In fact, we expect more women to come to the industry. So we are now calling ourselves seafarers. So a seafarer is somebody who has been certified to work on a ship.
Right.
So that's all that I can say about seafarers.
Okay. I'll come to you, but let me come to Mr. Lomensa. You are president of the Seafarers Center. What do you do exactly?
Thanks for having me. The Seafarers Center, we are a group of trained seafarers here in Ghana. We got together in the year 2016 with the aim of putting up the front that would speak for the seafarers. So we talking on behalf of the seafarer unions, and we liaise with the Ghana Maritime Authority and the Regional Maritime University and other stakeholders to show what the seafarers do, especially the Ghanaian Seafarer. So at the center, we are into a bit of policy, a bit of insurance for our people, welfare for our people. We've gone into some financial.
You advocate for these things?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So what are some of the issues, the key ones, that comes to your attention? I know they are grappling with a lot of issues. What are some of these issues, if you want to highlight them?
Presently, there's a lot of unemployment in the system, and the Maritime University, our training institution, has produced a lot of people, but the opportunities out there are very few. The ones that also come our way, the demands of experience. So the challenge presently is getting jobs for the people who are trained. And then those of our colleagues who are working in the fishing industry are not treated properly. The fishing industry is not well regulated, and we have a lot of complaints.
If you say they are not treated properly, what exactly do they do to them?
We've got reports from those working in our waters about the treatment on board in terms of what they eat, where they sleep, contracts between their agencies and their employers. These are not well at all. So we want to engage the Maritime Authority to critically look at the plight of our colleagues in the fishing sector.
Now, I know that a lot of people who do advocacy for seafarers the world over were a bit bombarded with issues following the outbreak of COVID-19, and people had to stay, at sea for very long periods and all that, and the attendant issues. Did some of these issues come to your attention?
Yes, certainly the COVID-19 had its effect not just on the trade aspect, but for the employment of our people. People had to stay home. Others had to stay extra months on board because crew changes were becoming a difficulty. And here in Ghana, those who were working in our offshore sector had difficulties with their crew changes. And most unfortunately, we had to lose a colleague at sea. Basically, he overstayed and he got frustrated and other complications. He fell ill and he died at sea. So the pandemic had an effect on all of us. Yes.
Right. Okay, so I'll come to Mr. Audu Inusa, who's from the Ghana Maritime Authority. But before I get to you, let's go and take a look at this item on Friday when you held the Day of the Seafarer. And then we'll come back, I'll come to you.
The Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Thomas Alonsi, has disclosed that the authority will soon introduce an online application process which will include appointment scheduling to reduce the time and energy spent in seafarers registration and a certificate issuance process. Speaking at the 2021 commemoration of the Day of the Seafarer, which was heavily attended by players in the maritime industry, he said the authority has been at the forefront of championing a cabotage law designed to ensure as many seafarers as possible gain employment.
We are determined to ensure that a sizable percentage of jobs are reserved for our seafarers by foreign vessels operating within Ghana's maritime jurisdiction. While the draft bill is going through the processes of being laid before Parliament and debated before being passed, the authority is exploring other avenues of compelling foreign vessels operating solely within our waters to employ local seafarers.
The IMO representative in Ghana, Captain Dallas Lai, said the IMO is doing all it can to support seafarers to ensure they are given the right protection through priority vaccination and ease of travels.
We all must keep seafarers in our hearts and continue to take action that returns seafaring to normal practices for crew change. And this is very, very important.
The president of the Seafarer Center Ghana, Edem Law Mensah, said the deplorable conditions in which seafarers in the fishing industry work must be addressed to alleviate their plight.
We have seen very robust systems elsewhere in the employability of the seafarer, and we believe if these are looked at critically and made a priority by government and stakeholders, as is the case in the Philippines and other countries, it would go a long way to help not just the seafarers, but Ghana as a nation.
All right, so you're welcome back. That was the story we carried during the celebration of the Seafarers Day on Friday. And so I'll come to you, Mr. Audu Inusa. How significant is this day?
The Day of Seafarers is to commemorate, it's in recognition of the contribution of seafarers to global trade, and also to recognize them as key workers. As mentioned by Captain earlier, so 70% of global trade in value and 80% in volume is via sea transport. And the individuals who make this happen are the seafarers. So in 2010, there was a conference in Manila. That conference was to usher in an amendment to the STCW convention, the convention that trained the seafarers.
What's the STC? What's that?
The International Convention on Standard of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers.
Okay, that's a long one.
Yes, that's the reference document for training seafarers. So at this conference, during the amendments, it was resolved that a day be set aside to celebrate seafarers in recognition of the effort. You would recall during COVID, world trade still continued. Yes. So the individuals who made this happen are the seafarers. Supply of goods, fuel, medication, all these things were being done because the seafarers were still working whilst there was lockdown. So this day of a day of seafarer, this is the 11th year, and a day was set aside and it's been recognized by the UN to recognize the effort that the seafarers ensure in global trade. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll stay with you and find out from you what relationship the Ghana Maritime Authority has with seafarers. I know one of them is certification. You issue them with certificates and all that. What are some of the things that you do for seafarers in the country?
Okay, the Maritime Authority is the body mandated for the training, recruitment, and the welfare of seafarers. Okay, so when we mention training, we are referring to the STCW Convention, the reference document for training of seafarers. And then recruitment and welfare, we are referring to the Maritime Labor Convention, 2006 as amended. So basically, when it comes to seafarers, that is the mandate of the Maritime Authority. Yes.
And so how often do you get to interact with this group of people? Because I want to refer to them as special people who have special needs that must be taken care of at all times. So how are you able to, meet these needs of theirs?
By virtue of our mandate, we are to serve the seafarers. Seafaring is a vocation, okay? It's a group of people who have adopted this vocation until the coming into force of the Maritime Labor Convention. There were a lot of challenges associated with their welfare. With the coming into force of the Maritime Labor Convention, we ensure that, for instance, recruitment and placement agencies are certificated to ensure that they conform to the requirements of the convention and whatever the living and working conditions of seafarers are. The Maritime Authority, as far as our port state and flag state responsibilities are concerned, we ensure that that is done. So almost always we are interacting with the seafarers. Yes.
All right. And so as it stands now, you can boldly hit your chest and say the relationship between the GMA and seafarers in the country is solid.
What I will say is we recognize the concerns of seafarers. We've not been able to meet all their demands or their concerns, but certainly, like Adam mentioned, we are working as a team. Yes.
All right. So let me come to you, Captain, and find out how important, how crucial is the seafarer. If seafarers decide to lay down their tools today, what will happen to global commerce?
As you're saying, 90% of global trade is carried by seafarers. And these are only 1,674 seafarers who are carrying all these trade.
Right.
Now, a very good example is just quite recently when that big ship, what was the name?
Evergreen.
Evergreen
just
got stuck in the Suez Canal for about 6 days. Half of the world was paralyzed. So these people are very, very important. Now, for example, both of them have talked about problems in the Ghana, maritime industry with the seafarers.
Right.
We do have problems. Seafarers have a lot of problems. I'll just talk about some of them.
Absolutely.
Fortunately, although the Ghana Maritime Authority had not been very, 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 very proactive at first, I'm very glad to say that now I can see that they are improving.
Okay.
And as we have always been saying, Rome was not built in a day. Now we've seen that they are coming up, they are getting, they are trying to solve the seamen's problems. But of course, the problems are not, they are very proactive. It's a very proactive industry. So if you start being reactive, you don't go very far. There is one thing that also the gentleman also said, that there are the jobs, okay? And this, I'll probably disagree with him, okay? I'll just give you statistics now.
Right.
Now, the demand for seafarers. First, I said there were 1,674,000 seafarers now.
Yes.
Now, that one, among that, there is 700.
That's the global figure.
That's the global figure.
Okay.
790,000 officers, 873,000 ratings. Okay.
When you say rating, who is a rating?
A rating is anybody who is not an officer.
Okay.
Who is, ABs and motormen and all those sort of stuff. Okay. Now the demand for what do you call it? The demand for maritime labor is about 1,545,000. Okay. Now out of this, 790,000 officers, 754,000 ratings. That is the demand.
Right.
That's the demand now. So in all, there is about a surplus of 16,500 officers.
Okay.
Now, for a very long time, we have been trying to appeal to the government that we should get into this maritime labor. Okay. Just to give you some figures, 2019, just before the COVID started, Philippines was able to get $6.14 billion US from supplying seafarers. And they supply...
And exporting them.
Exporting them.
Yeah.
They supply 380,000 seafarers. They are about one of the biggest countries.
Right.
We have been talking to the government since I came ashore about 15, 20 years ago. Told the government that just give us the facilities, put the right policy in place, we'll be able to make sure that probably will not have any unemployment. And unfortunately, it's not only, it's not only Ghana, the whole of Africa. We have been going around borrowing money all the time. Now, if you see all the top maritime labor supply countries, they are all in Asia. China, of course, China produces the seafarers for their own fleet. Indonesia, Philippines is the biggest one. You have Burma, you have India supplying all the officers and all those things. Africa, just practically zero. Okay. Now we have an advantage in the sense that Africa, we have the most, the youth population.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of we making the policies, government putting down the correct policies, and then making sure that people know that we have these things. Yeah. Just making sure we resource maritime authority and resource the regional maritime university. The gentleman was talking about our boys not getting jobs. It's true, because nobody wants anybody. You can have the the theoretical knowledge, but if you don't have the practical knowledge, nobody will take you. So our cadets, we do train them. We do train them theory work. We do train them quite a lot, and I'm very, very glad to tell you that when you go to the time when we had Black Star Line, when we had all this training, the maritime and the Ghana maritime officers who went to the Far East, they were a premium. If you look at any of them, that is why those people started coming to pick Ghanaian officers straight from here.
Right.
Because to pick a Ghanaian officer from here, you've got to pay airfare about $1,500.
Yeah.
If you take it, and you can take somebody from India, it's about $200-300. But they preferred it here because it was a premium. Okay. But then when the Black Star Line collapsed, and then the boys had to find companies to train them, nobody was prepared to train them. So we told the government, please give us a traineeship. You give us a traineeship, 1 year we train them, we push them out. And if I'm sure that if we're able to get even 5,000, we are able to get about 5,000, people employed in the maritime industry, we're going to make almost about $2 billion every year.
Yeah.
And that's quite a big amount of money. We keep on hammering it and hammering and hammering it. Unfortunately, nobody listens to us. We are still trying to make, we're still trying to put our way forward that we do need a training ship so that we can turn out our children, especially now that with the free education, SHS,
free SHS, yes.
We are going to bring out a lot of students, and we can train them. We need just a training ship to train them. Now, apart from that one we are talking about, that is the international trade. What about the offshore industry? The whole of Africa is full of offshore industry.
Yeah.
And this is a place where Ghana, we could even specialize there, working with GNPC, and get that market, probably get that market for Ghana. But you talk to the government, nobody listens to you. And that is the problem that we have. So we can assure the government that if the government gives us what we want and tells us, let's set this system up, you know, Philippines has over 500 mining agents. And the mining agents are not done haphazardly. You know, what they do is they are registered by the government, supervised by the authorities like a maritime industry. And then when the people are leaving that particular Philippines, they know they have a job. There's a legal provisions. All these legal provisions are there. So that we wouldn't have something like when you had to call the Honorable Kennedy Japan going to use his own money to repatriate.
To rescue people,
Because then the mining agent would take a guarantee from the bank. And the government will monitor that that person is getting paid. And all those things. These things are there. There's a blueprint for all these things. But you talk to anybody in the government, nobody is prepared to listen to you. And that's why we are having all these problems. But that's one of the main problems that the reason when you called me, I said, I would like to come and let it known that we can have employment. We can have employment if only we're able to put the right things in place. There are people who are prepared to train. I mean, I'm supposed to be on retirement, but I just want to teach. It's not because I don't have money. And everybody we want to teach. We want to make sure that our children have a future. But nobody wants to listen to you from the government. That's the unfortunate thing. So as the gentleman said, that didn't mean that there are no jobs. There is a maritime, the demand. The demand curve is going. And luckily, I understand that because the COVID things are improving, the maritime industry is even going to expand. So they're going to need more. At present, there's about shortage of about 16,500 officers.
Globally. Now, let me find out from you, what are the figures like in terms of Ghana, if we know the number of seafarers we have in Ghana?
That's also a problem. We don't have a database of Ghanaian seafarers. As the maritime authority, they will tell you, we have. But I asked the gentleman, they don't have it. So what we are trying to do, just now we're discussing it among ourselves, that with this coming, the census, what we are saying is that seafarers should try and put their profession as seafarers, so that the maritime authority can have the right to go in and extract that out. Then we'll get the figures. And with that, the government can come out with a policy, because without having those correct figures, the government cannot make a policy. So things are not too bad. Things look gloomy, but they are okay. I think the maritime authority, they are doing their best. I can say that. They are doing what they need to do, bringing out the laws and all that sort of thing. But we need the government also to
Okay, so let me come to you, Mr. Lomensa. You heard Mr. Alonsi, the DG of the Ghana Maritime Authority, submit that, there are jobs, for people in the industry. Are you convinced?
At the Seafarers Center, we are not convinced. There are jobs out there, but job for the Ghanaian seafarer, it's once you are trained from Maritime University, you are on your own when it comes to job placement. It was in recent years that we had the Maritime University coming in collaboration with BSM, Bernard Schut Management, and they've started training some seafarers. I completed in 2001. I had to fend for myself for my cadetship until today. There was no provisions by Maritime Authority or Maritime University for placement. So yes, there are jobs out there. How does the Ghanaian seafarer get that job? It lies solely on your shoulders. You need to speak to seafarers who have gone and come. They try to let you on that, when you talk to my company, you get a job here, you get a job there. But on a national front, like my captain just said, we have seen these in other jurisdictions. Once there's a policy, you train the people, you make provisions for their employment. The revenue that comes does not come just to the seafarer, but it comes back to the nation. So we are advocating at the Seafarers Center in collaboration with Ghana Maritime Authority. Let us talk to the industry outside of Ghana. We have a lot of shipping lines coming to operate here in Ghana. We have Grimaldi lines. There needs to be some sort of MOU. Once you are applying this country, ABC for timber, whatever, let's get a policy in place. X number of cadets, X number of officers, X number of ratings. With that, we hope with time, like I refer to what Captain said again, you could get to export the manpower.
Yeah. All right. So I asked Captain this question, but let me ask you the same question. Do you have some figures in your role, your register? How many are you?
Presently at the Seafarers Center, we have about 500 seafarers. We've got a couple of people working in our offshore maritime industry who are not seafarers, but they ply their trade there, and they have joined us. So on our register, we have over 500 of us. We are pleading that the local content that is being used in the petroleum sector, GMA should look at the marine aspect of it. We have a lot of ships in this oil production business. They have seafarer positions, and we have qualified, trained, certified Ghanaians. We cannot sit at home and not be a part of what is happening in our backyard. So we want to see more coming from the recruitment and welfare department of GMA. Yes, we have a lot of people at home, and we always see the experts coming in for these jobs, whilst we have Ghanaians here. So as we said at the Day of the Seafarer, we're pleading and hoping that with time, they'll get to put more of the Ghanaians in our offshore sector.
Right. Okay, so this is Metropolitan Television, and the program is Eye on Port. And tonight we are taking a look at the plight of the Ghanaian seafarer. Remember, I announced earlier on that Friday was the Day of the Seafarer, and Ghana joined the rest of the world through the Ghana Maritime Authority to celebrate this all-important day in the lives of seafarers. And we're just trying to examine some of the issues that they are grappling with as they ply their trade. And I'm coming to you, Mr. Inusa. Captain submitted that you lack a database of seafarers. Is that right?
We have a database for seafarers.
You do?
Yes, we have a database for seafarers. A little above 4,000.
Okay. That's for Ghana?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, for Ghana. And then Captain sentiments and that of
Mr. Lowe.
Mr. Lowe. Yes, some of them we are dealing with. If you listen to the Director General at the Day of Seafarer in his presentation, he mentioned that change has come. Some of the issues about training of what is happening is the seafarers have the competence when it comes to what they need under the STCW. What they don't have is the expertise required in the oil and gas. Okay, so what we did was that we have to speak to the recruitment and placement agencies who are responsible for the recruiting these seafarers. And then we have to collate their inputs, aggregate them, and then forward them to management. What they are saying is, what we should do is to ensure that every vessel that comes, that we ensure that at least there is a Ghanaian on board who would pick up or go through some form of training, hands-on training, so that after a period of time, this Ghanaian will take over from the expert. And then there is a law on cabotage. This law is to ensure that work or jobs within our waters is a preserve of Ghanaians. You see, so what this law seeks to do is that after a period of time, this industry should be occupied by Ghanaians. But if you don't have the expertise now, you can't say that the people should work. So the advice of the recruitment and placement agency, which we have taken into account, is that we should make it part of our condition though we are doing it, we should make it part of our condition for allowing vessels to work within our waters, for them to train Ghanaians to take up the roles of these foreigners. And that's we are doing. Okay. And then there was an issue about the maritime training for our seafarers. During the program, there was mention of Ghana signing an agreement with the government of the Republic of Korea to make available a training ship. Okay. So this is to ensure.
Is long overdue.
Yes. I have to admit, this is to ensure that just last week, there was a meeting between the Maritime Authority and then the delegation from Korea on this matter. So all in all is to ensure that when this arrives, that a lot of Ghanaians will have the requisite training and take up the jobs, as Captain is mentioning. So some of his concern is being addressed. And then we are reviewing the course with respect to ratings to be in conformity with the Manila amendments. This is to ensure what the authority wants to do now is to go to the schools, speak to the students to adapt seafaring as a vocation. Okay, so we are reviewing the course to ensure that these courses are in line with the Manila amendments and to ensure that anybody who comes out of the university, at least you have some form of training before you come out of the university. And then I mentioned earlier that we already have vessels in our waters who are working. What we intend to do currently is when these students come out, as part of the precondition for issuance of your license permit to work within our water, you are supposed to take on board some of these ratings and officers. Yes, so at the end of every year, before you come for a renewal, you have to tell us how many ratings you have trained, how many officers you have trained. So we are going to do this in collaboration, first of all, ensuring that vessels that work within our water, especially within the oil and gas sector, over a period of time, that industry is taken over by Ghanaians. Secondly, reviewing the rating courses to ensure that the ratings that come out of our university can rub shoulders with any other seafarer from any part of the world. Thirdly, to also the issue relating to us having a training ship. So these are some of the steps taken by the Maritime Authority and the government to ensure that some of the concerns that they have expressed will be catered for.
Now, for
one more, okay. So Ghana certificate is recognized all over the world. It takes a lot of effort to do that, okay. As I speak now, Ghana has been retained on the IMO white list, okay. Some of the countries...
What is the white list?
Okay, when we say white list, you go through an audit, okay? If you have a training institution, you have a maritime administration, what the IMO does is, the IMO audits you to ensure that whatever service, whatever training that you are administering is in conformity with the standards under the STCW. Okay, so we went through an audit and we have successfully been approved, and currently we are on the white list, one of the few to be on the white list. Philippines currently is not even on the white list as we speak, yes.
Okay, so that's no mean an achievement. Congratulations to the Ghana Maritime Authority. This is Iron Port. Remember, you can send us your comments via WhatsApp line, which is 0559 019 019 177 0559 019 177, and I will be glad to read your comments to the rest of the world. In a jiffy, we shall be activating the phone lines for you to get interactive with us by calling us and contributing to the discussion. I'm coming to you, Captain, and you mentioned drill ship, which is one of the requirements, one of the things that you require in order to be able to train seafarers. You mentioned other facilities. Which are some of these other facilities?
At present, the Regional Maritime needs a new simulator. We have an old simulator. I believe that, as he was saying, we're getting quite a lot of help from the Koreans.
Right.
We're getting a new training ship.
But let me find out from you, how soon, per the agreement you have signed with the Korean government, how soon is this ship likely to come?
I can't say that. I would have to go back and refer, but things are ongoing to ensure that it is done. And
we don't want to come and have this discussion next year and then it's still the same story.
No. From where we have reached, like I mentioned just last week, okay, we had a meeting with the Korean just last week before the Maritime Seafarers Day. We had a meeting with the Koreans in relation to this. So it's, let's see, very soon.
Okay.
Very soon. I can't be definitive, but
Captain is laughing.
No, Captain, I can't be definitive, but we've come a very long way. Yes,
okay.
A lot of things have happened.
All right. Okay, so Captain, yes. So what are some of the other facilities? I'm sure the powers that be are watching.
Yeah, it's good. What he's saying is true. Let's give ourselves about 1.5 years. Because we are now drawing this. I'm on the committee. We are working on all those things.
Okay.
But it's not only, the Koreans are not only giving us a training ship. I believe that they're giving us a lot of facilities in the Regional Maritime University.
Okay.
And what I also believe is that, a little bit, I don't want to say, but to me, or to most of the maritime professionals, we believe that the regionalization of the Maritime University, if it's possible, should be abrogated so that the government will take it up, because the maritime skills is supposed to be a strategic skill for the country.
Okay.
You see, what African countries do not really understand is what is maritime skills at all. But we found that most of the developed countries regard maritime skills as a strategic asset. So government should be able to get this strategic asset, because just for example, when there was this COVID-19 and all this, the Europeans said they are going to give their, they're going to give the busing to their people first. Okay. Now, supposing there is any problem where there is the maritime trade gets a little bit disrupted, everybody would like to carry his own cargo. And for that, you see that the U.S., for example, they maintain a strategic fleet of merchant ships which they only use for that. So we believe that that maritime skills should be Ghanaian, so that the government should be able to add the Maritime University as a public university, so that we can have the, facilities like training labs and all those things, enough money to, do our own thing. We are going to get a training ship. How are we going to run that training ship, for example? It's one of those problems that probably he doesn't know, but we're going to run it. Are we going to let the students pay for it? Because the school fees is one of the highest in the region. So how are we going to do that? But if it's a public university, it's going to be the normal public university, this thing. And we could also, because people will be able to afford it, instead of taking maybe 20 people in a class or something like that, we could take about 100 or 200. We are going to get, a lot of these free SHH students coming up. How are they going to get, the universities to go? Because none of these guys can come to the Regional Maritime University. You can't afford the school fees. But if it's a public university, and that's why I say, I don't want to talk about it, but to us, we are recommending to the government that you can abrogate the regionalization now, because most of the people in that, regionalization, they've already started their own tertiary institutions.
Right.
Thanks to Regional Maritime, we train them. They've been able to start their own regionalization. So why are they still there? So that's something that, I'm just saying it, but I'm expressing my own view. So that the government will be able to allocate resources to get the Regional Maritime running, as it used to be. We used to have a fishery department. We now need to run, offshore courses, so that this place, for example, can be a center for the whole of Africa for offshore courses. But we need resources for that.
Okay, I understand we have started receiving calls, even though we haven't announced the phone lines yet. We'll be announcing that in a bit. But let me take these messages that have come through, and I'll come to you and find out from you whether you think that you are being accorded the necessary recognition as seafarers in Ghana. Now, this one says seafarers are struggling to get jobs from Ghana, and the government is not doing anything about it. Instead, they charge us huge sums of money for certificates. I'm sure that's with respect to the Ghana Maritime Authority. So you have to tell us what figures there are that it is that you charge, that they are saying it's exorbitant and huge. This one's from Fred Morrison. I'm a third marine engineer. Now, engine cadets and deck cadets from the Maritime University are not getting ships for training. Agencies also charging seafarers almost 50% of their earnings for securing jobs for them. And hello, Ironport. Hello, Ironport team. I'm enjoying your program. You are really educating the public on the hazards of seafarers. I'll recommend you interview one Professor Nikwe, you add the number there, who is also an expert on maritime challenges, inland deep sea fishing, etc., etc. And this one is from Kofi. Kofi, thank you very much indeed for your message. We'll call Prof up and then see if we can arrange something. This one says it's from Kofi. I think you are watching us live, and so you sent this one to our Facebook page. It says, sad, Captain, if the government is not willing to work with, why won't you look for partners outside and start from there? And this one is still from Kofi Abba. It says the database is needed. He says, I would help solve seafarers' concerns, prioritize their concerns and start from there. This Audu guy is behaving like a politician. Actions are needed. All right, so at this juncture, let me activate the phone lines. The number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. Please give us a call and let's see what contribution you have to make. But yeah, issues of recognition. Are you feeling the fact that you are
Oh yes,
being recognized as seafarers?
We've seen a lot of improvement with the GMA over the past years. And, the celebration of the Day of the Seafarer has actually thrown more light on what we do. Yes, for the past 5 years, we have been invited to this day, and we are happy Mr. Alonsi on the Day of the Seafarers celebration said they've introduced measures whereby our colleagues in the Western region don't have to travel to Accra for certification.
All right, so they are decentralizing it.
Exactly,
okay.
Exactly. We are glad they are on those aspects for us. We would want to say that the agencies that recruit the seafarers, especially those here in Ghana, as they are being certified by GMA,
yes.
There needs to be some level of understanding where we have a collective bargaining agreement between the seafarers and the employers, yes, or the agencies. Presently at the Seafarers Center, Ghana, we are in the final stages of our draft. We hope to present that to Labour and GMA, and then if it is adopted, this would help because there's a lot of disparities in salaries and remunerations between experts and locals, one agency to the next agency.
Okay, so I'll go onto the phone lines because I'm told we have Derek from Anya on the lines. Hello, good evening, Derek.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. Please go ahead with your submission.
Yes, I appreciate the program you are.
Thank you.
You are doing for Mother Ghana, and I give up my heart to my senior colleague, the captain, the two captains. The fact of the matter is that training a Ghanaian on the job is not a difficult thing to do. The fact here is that we have not made that room, created that space for the Ghanaians to be trained. I am a past person of the Maritime Academy 1990. And I can tell you for a fact, when you go to a place like Saudi Arabia, within Saudi Arabia, they have Saudi Aramco. We know that Saudis, they don't speak English. But before you enter their oil field, you are required to do an English proficiency test before they allow you. So you have to get a permit, and if they reject you, you don't have to enter inside. Now, when you go to a place like United Arab Emirates, the United Arab Emirates have created their institution. No matter where you are coming from the world, you have to go and do a revision course. You can have your survival, whatever, but you still have to go and do it before you are permitted to enter their oil fields. Now, in Ghana, anybody comes from any part of the world and just simply enters the oil fields without any fresher course or anything. When you do that, you are depriving the nation of the requisite, how do you call it, resources. And from practical experience, we were part of the agencies that constructed the islands within the Dubai offshore. But I'm sitting at home with my expertise. Who knows what I have done before?
Yeah.
We've done mine clearing, we've done mine splitting, we've done a whole lot of things. But because we don't have the facility in Ghana, you come, your contract is ended, you can't go back, and you are already grounded within the country. And
okay.
so, and then my senior boss also said something, but I saw there was some conflicting. I believe that Ghana should still maintain the regionalization of the maritime university. If we make it to be only that of Ghana, it is going to be politicized, and we are going to end up maybe messing up the whole institution.
Right.
But if we regionalize it, then we have, how do you call it? We have dominion over the other African countries. That is why Ghana is high certificate. Then when you go out, people want to get the Ghanaian certificate more than the Nigerian or other countries' certificate.
Right. Your point is well made, Derek. Thank you very much indeed for your call. He called in from Anya. We are grateful to you. You can also give us a call, and the number to dial is just right on your screen, 020-552-8353, and we're glad to pick your calls. I have some messages still coming through. This one says, my name is Matthias Odai, a seafarer, a motorman. Finding a job is not easy in our maritime industry in Ghana. I have valid documents, but getting a job has never been easy for me, for more of us, especially me. Renewal of documents and updating is very expensive, that if you are not working and your documents expires, you're out of job. We need jobs as seafarers in Ghana, and I want to salute Elom Mensah. I'm sure he's Mr. Lo Mensah, for the good job they are doing. Maritime Authority, I think this one is at your doorstep. They say, renewal of documents, quite expensive there. That's what they complain the guy. So you can note it down. I'm sure you probably want to give a response, later on. This one says, Ghana Maritime Authority charges on charges on seamen is too much and should be checked. I am enjoying the program. I've learned deck watch keeping is not renewable according to ITF, but RMU insists we must renew it. I want to know how true it is. Secondly, certificates renewals are too expensive as compared to other countries. Something has to be done about it. This one is from Emmanuel. He says he is a seafarer. And then we have this one from Ohima in Tema. She's one of our regular texters and callers. She says, thanks for the insightful programs. Without a national shipping line, the employment chances of our cadet are slim. Could you find out from Captain and his team whether Ghana has any plans of owning vessels in the near future, at least beginning with bareboat chartering? Also, could you find out from them the status of the cabotage law and their opinion on whether the Nigerian example of cabotage will have any positive impact for our Ghanaian domestic shipping industry? Captain, that's for you. Would you want to tackle it?
That's on the national shipping.
Yes.
I'll say that it's not a bad idea, especially in the old, and especially before that, I would have said it wasn't not really necessary.
Captain, can you position your mic properly? Yes.
But
absolutely.
With the African Free Trade Agreement, I think it's something that we need to look at.
Okay.
Because first, Ghana being the headquarters of the African Free Trade Agreement,
yes,
everybody is looking at us to take the lead in things like that.
Yeah.
So perhaps the government should sit down with the stakeholders, private stakeholders. It should not be, I don't believe in the national line as such that government owned. But it should be, there should be, what do you call it, a conducive environment for private people to get into it. In fact, when we were drawing up the cabotage law, what we thought of putting into it, that there should have been a cabotage levy, okay, where ships that are supposed to be granted exemptions, because ships will need to be given exemptions because there are some skills that we didn't have.
Right.
So they'll be given exemptions. So to be able to be given an exemption to come and work in our cabotage industry is a privilege, which you normally have to pay for it. I know the Nigerians have a cabotage levy, but somehow the minister said that one of the international organizations didn't like it or something. I don't know why they believe that the international organization should dictate to us, because I believe we are a sovereign nation. And if we say we want it, nobody should be able to tell us.
Yeah.
But somehow they didn't do that. So what the government should do is that they should probably be able to set up a fund where they'll be able to help ship owners with a little bit of reduction in the interest rate and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially to start coastal shipping, because it's a very, very important aspect. We've been talking about African Free Trade Agreement, but we haven't realized that transportation takes about 35% of the cost of doing business. So it's something that we could probably also look at it.
Okay.
So I believe that government should really try and set up the conducive environment for the setting up of private shipping lines, especially coasters.
All right. I am told we have one Anthony on the line. Hello, Anthony. Good evening, sir. Hello, Anthony. Okay, I understand he's gone off. So let me come to you, Mr. Audu Inusa. I mean, I think you seem to be having some backlash from the people. They say renewal of their documents, certificates, and all that. So expensive. Why is that? Do you have any figures? How much do you charge per renewal?
Renewal for a certificate of proficiency is 130 Ghana.
130
Let's say
Ghana.
190 Ghana.
Okay.
Yes. So if you want the 5 mandatories, that's 510 Ghana cedis.
Why must you have 5 of them?
No, these are, that's what we call them mandatories.
Okay.
They are important that you have.
They are must-haves.
Exactly.
Okay.
They are for safety and security on board the vessel, so it's a must-have. Okay. And then these fees, since 2007, have not been reviewed.
Okay.
Yes. Since 2007, have stayed the same way. Yes. That's what I can say. Even when the proposal was made for a review, the Director General, he asked that we maintain the fees. Okay. And then there was a question also of somebody who wanted to renew his...
Yes, so you hold on with that, get that, and then let me pick Atia from Kumasi. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, please, what's your submission?
Yeah, the name is Nketia.
Etia, right, thank you.
Yes. First, I have this issue regarding the Regional Maritime University. About the number of students they turn out as engine to pay. Yeah. Before, it looks like the profits are excellent. Now it has been reduced, and there's still many number of people that are passed out as motormen or less. They are not getting jobs. And a few of them that get jobs, it's like they also rise quickly into the officer's position.
Right.
When some people have spent about 4 years and over to complete their degree programs, they compete with these motormen for the few available officers' positions. Is there any regulations that guides the Regional Maritime University about the number of students they pass out regarding these engine mechanic courses?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Etia from Kumasi. Captain, this one's within your domain. What do you have to tell him?
There's this impression that the Maritime University is supposed to provide jobs for their students. It's actually, erroneous.
Right.
There's no university or no institution that provides jobs for their students. Okay. What we could do...
But you can facilitate.
We can facilitate it. But don't forget that we're not working in Ghana. Those ships are foreign companies. And you probably will not be able to go and tell a company that is working in America that come and take my student. that's what we've been talking about.
Right.
That it's a system that the government needs to put into place so that other companies will know that, oh, we have Ghanaian, officers. These are the ways you want to recruit a Ghanaian sailor or a Ghanaian seafarer. This is the way we go through. Salaries have been, as the gentleman said, salaries have been set by the government. Everything is like this. You go through the system. The agents have been properly vetted and all sorts of things.
Right.
So that when the system is established, people will feel confident. And then also, then at that time when the government delegation is going out, probably they'll be able to market the country that we're producing seafarers, qualities and all sorts of stuff.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Captain, but let me go on to the phone lines. I understand Benjamin from Tema is on the line. Hello, good evening, Benjamin.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Please go ahead with your submission.
Okay, I would like to say something small about the Regional Maritime University and then also the Ghanaian Maritime Authority.
Right.
You know, the Maritime Authority don't provide jobs for the students. But as a regulatory body, they've allowed the Ghanaian Maritime University to be charging high fees for renewal. These seamen are in the house doing nothing. They've got the papers 4 years, it will expire. And then, when they go to renew, they are being asked to pay at the current exchange rate. That is most unfair. And I would like the Maritime Regional University to take a look at that. You don't charge students for renewal at high prevailing exchange rate. So it should be checked. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, indeed. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Captain, please finish with the submission, and then let me. There are some tons of messages here we'd have to deal with, and then you also give a response to, that fellow that wanted to know.
So just to follow up, one thing you should realize is that the Maritime Authority, the Ghana Regional Maritime Authority, is not under the GMA.
Regional Maritime University.
The university is not under the GMA.
Okay.
The Regional Maritime University is an international under the regional regionalization. The Maritime Authority is just a regulatory body for the Ghanaian laws. Okay. So the Regional Maritime University sets up its own their certificate. The certificates that they are mandated to train for, they set up their own fees. So it's just a matter of probably there can be an agreement. The university, GMA can sit down with them and say, okay, do something about it. But they are not really, by law, they are not really compelled to do that.
Okay.
But then apart from that, they take some certificates on behalf of the the GMA. The GMA sets up the school the fees for them. So that one is different.
Okay. All right. So let me come to you. You were about responding to a particular texter on some issues you raised.
We would like to advise the seafarers. They are licensed recruitment and placement agencies. If you don't deal with them and you deal with persons who are not licensed, you have problems because under the Maritime Labour Convention, the Ghana Shipping Maritime Labour Regulation, a recruitment and placement service provider is not supposed to charge a seafarer. It's not allowed. So if you go to anyone and the person starts asking
because the fellow says the agencies take close to 50% of their earnings just for helping them secure the jobs.
Yes, it is not allowed. And secondly, when that happens, you should let us know. Because if you don't come to us to report these incidents to us, we may not be able to tell. And then second, another individual was talking about the renewal of the watchkeeping certificate. A watchkeeping certificate is the lowest certificate, either in the deck or the engine department. Okay. The watchkeeping certificate after your training is not renewable. Okay. But if you are out of sea for more than 5 years, I'm sorry, you will have to go back for some form of training.
Wow.
Okay. So probably that is why the Regional Maritime University is asking him to come back and renew. If that is not the case, then he is not supposed to renew that certificate.
Okay. No. All right. So let me take these messages, and then we have barely 9 or 8 minutes to go. This one says, Good evening, sir. I am a seafarer, and I believe the Ghana Maritime Authority has put in very good measures these past years to improve the welfare of seafarers. There should, however, be a policy to ensure that all seafarers become members of the Seafarers Center. There is strength in numbers. This one's he's called PK from Tema. I hope you are noting that. The Ghana Maritime Authority don't provide jobs for the seafarers, but as the regulatory body has allowed Regional Maritime University to be charging high fees with the prevailing exchange rate in Ghana. That is most unfair to the ordinary seafarers. Captain, the backlash is coming at your doorstep as the person from the RMU. Now, the regionalization of RMU, it says, good evening, sir. The regionalization of RMU should be cancelled since member states don't pay their membership dues. Is that right?
It's not correct.
It's not correct.
It's rather Ghana which has not been paying their regular.
Ghana, rather? You don't mean it? Okay. All right. A lot of seafarers are at home because they cannot apply for CI/D visa. What is that? CI/D, C1/D visa. The U.S. Embassy, even though the embassy has put it on their website, that crew can apply for an emergency booking. The GMA or government should check this with the embassy. Thank you. This one's from Bernard. And this one says, my name is George from Tema. Please ask the RMU rep why renewal of seafarer certificate costs the same as the first time taking of the course for that certificate.
I have no idea. I have to
about that. Okay, right. So let me come to you, Captain. Just in brief, 2 minutes. What do you think we should be doing as a country to ameliorate the challenges, the plight of the Ghanaian seafarer, and to ensure that some of these issues that they go through, they grapple with, are addressed adequately? And I know you've made your stance known that we need the facilities to churn out proper training, to churn out some of these seafarers, and even export. And you gave the Philippines example and all that. And so what are some of the things we should be doing as a country?
I think the first thing that we need to do is, people have been talking about for example, for the visa fee, for the visas and all those things. It means the system there for the mining agents is not correct. Because the mining agent, one of the things that the mining agent is supposed to take, a letter of attorney, power of attorney from his, his employees from this thing. And he gets paid.
Right.
He gets paid for providing that service. So if I take one AB for you, maybe you pay me $50 or $100. So I don't need to pay the sailor to pay. Probably all that the sailor pays is maybe something like a registration fee, maybe some five CDs or something like that for filling the forms. So it means it's the responsibility of the Maritime Authority to ensure that all these things are there. Before they register you as an agent, you must have a letter of, what do you call that letter you represent? Letter of attorney from the agent who wants to employ you, how much he's going to pay you per person you recruit, and must also have a letter of from the bank, guarantee from the bank. With this, because the agent is supposed to sign your contract before you leave Ghana.
Right.
So that when you take that letter, you've got a letter from Captain Amensia, who is a money agent for Audu. He's going to join a ship in the US. You've signed your contract. The US embassy will not refuse you that visa.
Right. Okay.
And
all right. So I hope the fellow is still watching and they will take a cue.
So those things must be done.
Okay.
It has not been done. So the Maritime Authority needs to wake up and do the right thing.
Right.
Not that agents are, anybody can come and register that he's an agent. But he's not an agent. There must be policies in place that they should follow.
All right.
And I believe that needs to be done.
Thank you very much indeed, Captain. So I'll come to you, and I know your membership are watching and listening. What word would you have for them? And if you want to tell the Ghana Maritime Authority something, or even the RMU, please, you are at liberty to.
Just to touch on briefly with the renewal of certificates. The problem is you have to go to the training school to have the training certificate renewed. And then you come to the Maritime Authority to renew your proficiency.
Right.
That, I think, must be looked at. You go back to college for the training, you renew $100, $90, $350, depending on the certificate type. Then you come back to the Maritime Authority to have a proficiency certificate, and you are charged again. So we feel, we think it's about time we have a balance between the training certificate and the certificate of proficiency.
Right.
Once that is done, members will not be agitated. On the front of recruitment, and Captain said there's an erroneous impression that the university has to employ. Traditionally, Nautical College was set up to feed the Black Star Line.
Right.
That was what it has been. So that impression is what people are carrying on.
Yeah.
It is not that we feel Nautical College University has to employ people. Universities don't find employment for people. We can understand, but the notion or the basis for which the Nautical College was set up was to feed the Black Star Line.
Yeah.
Yes. We are grateful for the opportunity given us to talk about the issues that we have.
Right.
We hope going forward, working with Ghana Maritime Authority and especially our colleagues in the fishing sector, their conditions are not the best.
Appalling, okay.
Yes, we would plead that they are looked at.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Very well. So, Mr. Inusa, you have the last word. I mean, just 1 minute, and then we wrap it up.
Okay. Some few issues that I need to correct.
Clarify. Okay.
On the contrary, it is Ghana that pays and supports the regional maritime university.
Okay.
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 And then the second issue is, you see, if you don't have a license from the Maritime Authority, no ship owner will be willing to work with you. Okay. So if you are asking somebody to bring a letter of guarantee before, it's not going to be possible that way. And then thirdly, we should understand the distinction between the Maritime Administration and then the university. Okay. Coming out of the university does not necessarily mean that the person is going to sea. Okay, we should make that distinction. And then finally, seafarers, I would like to appeal to them to get themselves acquainted with the Maritime Labour Convention.
Right.
When you get yourself, people go to sea and then there are issues about non-payment of wages. Anytime you find yourself in that situation, please look out for the insurance on the vessel and call the PNI agent to come to your rescue.
Right.
Secondly, you should also be aware that when the vessel is captured by pirate, your wages still is deemed, your seafarers employment agreement is still deemed to be valid, and you will still be paid.
Okay.
So take that into consideration. And most of the issues complaints that we have, I've worked for 2 months, I've not been paid, I've worked for 3. Please, if you work beyond 4 months and you are not paid,
you should report.
Yes, you should
Fantastic.
report.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Inusa Audu. He's from the Ghana Maritime Authority, and he is a Principal Maritime Admin Officer. We thank you so much sincerely. And we also thank Captain William Amansha, who is a lecturer at the Regional Maritime University. He is also an associate member of the Nautical Institute. And then we also had Mr. Lo Mensah, who is president of the Seafarers Center here in Accra. My name is Kennedy Mona. Many thanks for watching. Remember, the program is brought to you by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, GOIL Company Limited, Serene Insurance, and Ghana Link Network Services, the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System. The abridged version of Iron Port is also aired on Ghana Television at 8:30 on Wednesday. My name is Kennedy Mona once again. Enjoy your evening.